Hello everyone and welcome to the Melia Movement podcast. This is a podcast that brings reality, it brings real stories and it brings real people into the limelight of you watching this. I want to spread awareness that us normal people do go on these journeys and come out the other end succeeding in life. Every single guest that I have on this show has been through something in life and now is doing absolutely truly incredible things. I want to share their journey and exactly how they get there. Big love, and as always, Melia fucking movement, baby.
Melia movement, baby.
Brian, thank you so much for having us up to the HQ today.
Welcome.
Really appreciate it. I've been massively touched by your story. Shout out Will getting me in touch. And yeah, I just wanted to sort of, meaning of the podcast is we can go through anything in life and nothing can stop us getting exactly what we want out of it. It doesn't matter how many setbacks people get. I want people to relate to the story. It might not be in specifics, but there's a lot of things going on in the world right now where we just think, it's easier to hide away. But your story is absolutely incredible. And what you've achieved and what we spoke about before the podcast about your plans is nothing short of inspiring. A lot of people probably would have checked out. A lot of people maybe would have just folded in. But I really want to get into the depths of you as a younger Brian and sort of why you are the person you are today.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I don't class myself as someone who's sort of empowering or inspirational or anything like that. I'm just another dude that, like so many, have gone through some tough times, some demanding times. But if you're willing to push through adversity, the better you will come out, and there'll be more clarity on the other end. So yeah, no, it's my pleasure, and I'm looking forward to getting started.
Good. So tell us a little bit about all of my guests. I want to know who Mini Brian was and why you are here today and the journey that you've been on.
Yeah, so I grew up in a loving family. My mum and dad are very hard-working parents. My dad's still working at the moment. Mum's retired. My dad served in the military 22 years, and I bounced it around, when I was younger from different locations because obviously the military don't sit still, they're always on the move. So I was kind of having to adjust at a young age, different schools, sometimes different cultures because I was in Germany, Berlin for a period of time as well. But my dad was a man with incredible values. He also had home values and doing the basics right, and it does rub off on you. And I understood what was right and wrong at a really young age, and being around that environment where I would see my dad in his uniform, I would see him playing sport. I would be going into the army barracks and seeing, all of this. Just for a young boy to look and see, platoons marching and the noise of the soldiers that were in the barracks were making, it just kind of I understood what it was kind of. I don't know whether it was always destined, because I was actually quite talented at football. I was with Chelsea, School of Excellence, and then I was released and then went to Reading, done 4 years at Reading, and then that was kind of my first hard knockback as well. And was told I wasn't good enough. So then I was to follow in my dad's footsteps. And my brother at this point, because my brother joined the military, and then I felt that I had a duty to represent this great nation, and and then off I went. But like I said, growing up, had a loving family, made a lot of mistakes. I was a little toe rag, really. I was into all sorts, and now being a father myself, I think I did put my parents through a little bit, breaking in, different sort of, I don't know, compounds and shops, and then I took magic mushrooms as well, and that was a big lesson, but a lesson that I learned huge from that experience, because you know, never to take another drug again in my
No, of
life.
course.
So I learnt the hard way. But I always say to my dad, you know, it was the best thing I ever did, because I was like away from everything from
Yeah.
that bad experience that I had from that. You know, I was stealing a few things, which I got caught, and the disappointment on my parents' faces, but because like, if you had have asked, we would have got it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we didn't have a lot of money as a family. My mum worked 2 to 3 jobs. My dad was serving. He pushed himself to buy a house, so we were really, you know, on, I wouldn't say the breadline, but we weren't flush.
Yeah.
But he would have bought something rather than see me steal it. So I wasn't in desperate need that I didn't have any clothes to go and steal, but I just wanted to, I was in the wrong crowd really,
Yeah.
with the wrong people, and I just thought it would be big and clever. But you learn. Life is about learning. Life is a journey, and as long as you're willing to be accountable for your actions and learn from what you've done wrong, then, you know, it's part of life. You're always going to make mistakes, but it's how you react from them mistakes. So yeah, younger Brian, I had a good upbringing.
Good, but just sometimes a little bit of a rascal. I think that's normal though. I think it's normal to sort of find your path, and I think it's definitely good that you do it at a young age, because
Yeah.
if you was to do that maybe like at 19, 20, when you get into that age, that's when you can go down the bad path very
And that's
quickly.
when it's harder to get away from it.
100%.
Sure.
So when was it, you know, normally when people would get released from football, they'd maybe go to like a lower tier
Yeah.
and sort of try and progress through that way again. Did you just think, no, I've just fallen out of love with it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't fall out of love with it. I just knew there was something else there. And I knew in the military, if you're half decent at sport, you will travel the world playing
Yeah.
sport. I knew that. So yeah, I mean, I did my training. I did my phase 1 in Basenborn, and then I went to Catterick to do my trade training, which was frontline infantry training. And then after I passed phase 2, I was kind of on the radar already for the army football team, and went down to Aldershot, had a trial, got in, and then before I knew it, I was flying out to Brazil for 3 weeks, all paid for,
Nice.
play football. It was an unreal experience. And then I cut away to South Africa to play football for 3 weeks, Mauritius, and then all over Europe. So, you know, I still had my boots on, my tools, and I was still, you know, doing what I loved to do, but in an environment with incredible like-minded people. It was in the infantry, it's an all-male organisation, so everyone wants to be the best version of themselves. They're constantly pushing the boundaries and trying to gain that 2 to 5% to get promoted, or to, you know, sort of gain that reputation. It's such a sort of alpha male organisation, and I just loved it. And then the Twin Towers were hit, and the dynamics kind of shifted slightly for us as frontline soldiers, because we ended up going to war. And that was kind of when we were in a period of time where Afghan and Iraq were simultaneous. So you're going to one theatre of war, fighting, coming back, and then going to another theatre. So it was a massive demand on so many, not just me. I mean, so many people went through it.
How was the feeling of, you know, sort of getting that call, and it's like, yeah, the football, the flying around the world's going to stop, and now it's actually just like what you're in the army for is going to be happening?
I mean, there's always an element of that could happen. I mean, it's so unbalanced, the world, and you just don't know how the dynamics are going to play out. So you've always got to have that kind of flexibility that you could go on operations. That's what you train for. That's what you want to do. You want to test yourself on operations. You want to test yourself in some real demanding situations, but you've also got to be very careful what you wish for, because I tell you now from first hand, war is brutal.
Yeah.
It's chaos, it's carnage, it's disorientating, and it has a lasting imprint.
So when you went out there, obviously there is a massive story behind what happened to you. And we'll mention the book sort of later on in the podcast. But What was your emotions going through there while you was out there? Because that is a massive adjustment. Did you adjust to war life quite easily? Was you sort of just that military programmed that it was all right?
No, you just got to listen to what's happening out there, the intelligence that's getting fed down, and the intelligence that we were getting. My first real warfighting tour, because I did 2 tours of Kosovo prior to going to Iraq. But Kosovo was peacekeeping, but it also created the foundations for me as a soldier to understood what it was like to be, at a level where you need to be for operations, the hyper vigilant, the understanding mission command, understanding intent, understanding the peacekeeping role and how that could potentially switch. So all of this, I was like a sponge. I was trying to understand everything and different cultures as well, because clearly Kosovo is a different country to where I'm used to, and trying to learn the basics as well on language, and just trying to be invested in to make their country a safer place, and with our support. But Iraq was on another level. I mean, when we went into country, it was fighting from day one, and you had to understand. Well, I grew up instantly and become a full-blown man within a day, and I was 23, and I was still a leader. I was a young commander. I had a lot of responsibility, like so many, and I had to make some big, bold decisions under extreme time pressure, and really demanding situations. But I mean, Danny Boy is what's most spoken about, because it was close quarter fighting. We were ambushed. We were in an armoured vehicle. We were told to get out of the armoured vehicle by our commander and go and counter-attack a stronghold which had a lot of militia fighters in. They were in trench ditch positions, and it hasn't really been done sort of that conventional style for many a year, as in going in across no man's land really and into a fully occupied position. So it was real close hand-to-hand fighting, and there was a lot of enemy that were killed. Thankfully none of us were killed or injured, but overall in that battle there was 20 militia enemy fighters killed, and 9 were taken as POWs, which is prisoner of war. But the collateral, the trauma, the first visualization of a human body dead, but it's not just a puncture wound. These are opened up like all over the place. But you have to switch that off, because our aim is to understand the situation. We were still in a really dangerous situation. We're in the trenches now with prisoner of wars who are being very vocal. We were all distressed, if I'm honest. It said in the papers it was textbook. It was far from it.
Yeah.
There was so much confusion. There was obviously a lot of aggression, belief, desire, tenacity on that day. And like, I was the oldest, 23.
Oh, fucking hell.
So there's a lot of weight on your shoulders, but that's been displayed for years within the British Army, of young commanders.
That's the normal.
Yeah, it's young commanders, kind of sort of maturing overnight and being able to deliver some big plans and missions, and I was sort of no different really. But it was tough. We were very lucky to be alive, and there was a few situations where pretty close calls. I mean, after that main position was taken, me and my sergeant major went up and done a sort of clearance up of the South Bank, and ended up coming under 2 more engagements, but they were like 1 to 2 meters away. So it was real close, intense fighting. And it was an experience that for sure will be an imprint until the day I'm away from this world. I mean, I can manage it now, clearly, but there was moments within kind of my journey that I struggled to understand the way I was feeling and to understand the visuals that I was kind of, yeah, sort of being back into that battlefield again, whether it was like daydreaming on a train or just being lost in the thought in the moment. I'm thinking, bloody hell, why am I back here again?
Yeah.
You know, how can I shift it? But I didn't have the tools to, at that point, to deal with kind of some of the ways that I was feeling. But that was only sort of one experience to many I had with trauma in Iraq. I was also involved in a massive ambush that our vehicle was hit, and it was mobilised by 2 huge rockets that come through the side, and we were up to our sort of shin stroke knees in diesel, and there was a fire in the back, and there was casualties, and you're trying to do what's best in that moment, and it's just, well, savage, it's chaotic, and you're trying to figure it out, but you've got to be level-headed. You've got to give sort of a bit of reassurance and clear direction, and that was the kind of leader I wanted to be. If I was to sort of be, in the military, you say flapping in the moment, that's infectious. So people are going to also react to you running around like flapping. You've just got to try and be sort of calm in the moment of chaos, give a bit of direction, and just try your best, because in this moment I wasn't in control of the situation. I was in the back of this vehicle that had just been smashed by, you know, some savage enemy, and it was down to the driver to try and get us out of, we call it the killing area, and you know, God forbid he managed to do that and we got to a safe haven. But in the back of that vehicle there was some pretty bad serious casualties, and you know, that was another bit of luck that I had. Seeing my platoon sergeant and good friend hit direct with a petrol bomb on his head and engulfed his whole body, and he had tattoos like me, but they were just dripped off. You know, it was just like looking at an anatomy figure of that red muscle tissue. Yeah, that's quite vivid, and the smell of burning flesh. That was another massive incident that I was exposed to. And later on, Johnson Bahari, who won the Victoria Cross, 1st of June, he was pretty much hit by a direct rocket-propelled grenade launcher, and just basically exploded next to his face, and he was unresponsive, and me and one other went over to see what was going on in his driver's hatch, and he was unresponsive, dragging him out, trying to administrate first aid to him. It was he was in a very serious way. I mean, he ended up in a coma for sort of over a month, and then the next time I actually see him was at Buckingham Palace, where he was awarded the Victoria Cross and I was awarded the Military Cross. So it was like another chaotic day. And then my second tour of Iraq, unfortunately, one of our soldiers in our company put a weapon in his mouth and pulled the trigger, and I was the third person onto that scene as well, and that was just like a day, you know, you just don't want to really remember, but it's gonna be around because
of course.
I'd seen it. So trying to kind of figure out with that as well was tough. And there was a number of other things as well, but I was in an environment where you just have to show no emotion, switch off and just get on with it. But unfortunately, it's not as easy as that.
So a lot of people at 23, I mean, I was still doing summers in Ibiza and Iron Apple, so it was a massive difference. How the hell do you just switch that mindset of not being able to deal with that trauma? Because even one of them incidents probably would have been for a lot of people, you know, that's it, game over. But you kept on. How do you switch that flick?
It's a really good question, and for me, it was the fear of being looked at differently. Maybe someone, if I'd have went and seen about it and said I was struggling, I was scared of people thinking that I wasn't right. I wasn't the leader that they thought I was. You know, I was a bit of a jellyhead, you know, because this is what I'm telling myself. Yeah. This is kind of what I'm thinking that other people would think of me, which is really bad.
It's 9 times out of 10 it's bullshit.
Yeah, of course it is. It's really bad of me to even think that I would have been a better leader if I'd have went and seen, actually, look, I need to have a chat about this because I'm struggling at the moment with a lot of the legacy war scars. And but when you don't manage it and when you don't have the courage to go and speak about it, there is areas where it's going to come out. And for me, it was behind closed doors with the ones that I loved, which is unfair. And if I've got a few regrets. I can't. It is what that's life. Sometimes you do stuff, but I can't change it, and I actually probably wouldn't change it. But if I could, I would go back and change the way I was when I got back from operations, because I should have been more of a leader and gone to action some of the stuff that was floating around in my headspace.
There's a guy called Mo Gawat who's at Google X, and they done a study of if you could go back and change anything that you regretted, would you do it? And I think majority of the people said no, because they said if you'd done that, you'd lose every single lesson that you've learned, every single person you've met on the way, and the person that you've become. So them lessons that you would have learnt then have definitely shaped you, and we was talking about it before, into who we are.
Oh, for sure. I mean, life is an incredible journey. It's a demand, for sure. But we're very fortunate to be here, and you're going to trip up along the way. You're going to be influenced along the way to make some wrong choices in life, but we learn from it and you grow from it. And that's the most important thing, is understanding or acknowledging that you've made a few mistakes and errors, but what are you going to do about it? And how can you then influence other people not to kind of go down the road that you went down? That's what it's all about. It's giving some key learning points, a bit of clarity and a bit of direction to people that need it the most. And people look to people with credibility. Because if they know that you've also experienced some real demanding times and some hardship, and you've chosen some wrong path and you've gone down there and it's really knocked you, but you've then come out of it and grew from it, I want to be speaking to you. Because you've been there, you've got the experience, and you've got probably some of the tools that I can then use. That's what it's all about. Like doing these podcasts, and it probably won't be me, but a guest that in the future that you have on could have some tangible knowledge and will help other people who are going through some situations in their life, thinking actually that's very similar to what I feel, and I can use how he got over that, implement it into my life, and try and get on this track that I was on before. And it isn't as easy as that, but you know, if you're willing to show up, get yourself around some positive, like-minded people to bounce ideas off, to have that courage to create dialogue, you know, that's what it's all about. Have that courage to send a message if you're really feeling the pinch that, hello mate, do you fancy a beer? I'm struggling a little bit. I mean, that takes 5 seconds to write, doesn't it?
Not even that.
But it takes 5 years to send.
100%. 100%. Do you think, you know, with the struggles that you had when you was in the army, vulnerability was ever seen as weakness? Because I know, obviously, you was the one in charge. Vulnerability towards the people that you was working with, do you think that was what was holding you back, or was it ego, or was it...
No, I think being in an all-male organisation is always going to be difficult. That's why I think the military can relate to, like, the rugby players, you know, the footballers and stuff like that, because they're all in institutions as well, and you're constantly trying to find ways to be better. And if there is a chink, you don't want to expose it. That's just the way it is in that all-male environment back in the day, because you wouldn't speak about it. When I joined in 1998, you had to be robust. You had to be an aggressor. If you showed any sign of weakness, then you were left behind. So that's kind of the way I was moulded and shaped. But now it's completely different. We should be encouraging people, and they do now encourage people to talk. They have teams to go and bounce around and talk about, you know, mental well-being, mental fitness, mental resilience, you know, which should have been done a long time before. But the military is like any other organisation. They're learning constantly as well, how to evolve, how to bring in different, you know, categories that need to be implemented within that environment. So it's like another big corporate. Not everyone gets it right, but as long as you're trying and you're creeping things in that should be crept in, then you're on a positive path. But yeah, to answer your question, I think the reason why I didn't kind of I'll talk about the point that I did go and speak to someone, because I did, was so my first tour of Iraq was 2004, and then I went to see someone in 2009. So it's like quite a chunk.
It's 5 years of battling up demons.
Of proper roller coaster ride. And the reason why I went to speak to someone, because in 2009 there was a massive inquiry launched called the Al Sweeney Inquiry, and it was headed up by a public interest lawyer, Phil Shiner, who had a huge amount of credibility in his field of human rights lawyering, and he just done a massive case with Baha Musa and done very well in that, and then seen potential way in with the Battle of Danny Boy and some of the hearsay that was being bandied around, got in amongst it, and then started to create a lot of lies and started to believe his own hype, but it got traction. And then all of a sudden I was then, my regiment, my fellow soldiers were up for murder, mutilation and mistreatment.
Was that about 9 years later?
Yeah. So I was thinking, how can one be awarded the military cross for gallantry, then live with all of them scars, to then, out of kind of the blue really, be under investigation and allegations of murder, like cold-blooded murder. I mean, we reacted to like a hideous ambush, and we're lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
And then it got bigger and bigger. Then it went into the press. Then Panorama launched something called On Whose Orders. Basically made us look out to be like barbaric murderers, and it was just chaos. And that was when I was on the floor, lower than a slug's belly, with no clear vision of kind of how to get up and how to figure it out, because I had no motivation. I was just like, all of this just really got on top of me. But that's when I say to people, it's okay.
Yeah.
You can acknowledge it. You can then have a cigar moment to try and then figure out, right, I'm under a lot of pressure here. How do I get to phase one? Which is,
if you can see the next step, what is that? Just take that next step.
What is phase one is to get me up in the morning and get me at least taking steps forward.
Yeah.
So that's what I then figured out. I had to do it because no one else was going to do it for me. I had good people around me that I could talk to, bounce, questions to and fro, but it was down to me and how I was going to understand what was going on and how I can, see a way forward and figure it out. And it was tough, but I went and seen a specialist. Started to really sort of discharge all of the past, the experiences that I parked just like scabs.
Yeah.
You just park them.
Just back in the head, innit?
You can't purge it and get rid of it, because if it's scratched off, then there's that emotion, there's that feeling, and how do I manage it? Because at the moment I was just doing self-help. There's no such thing as self-help.
No.
So I was getting it kind of wrong, managing it, but wrong. And then when I went to go through my journey of therapy, I started to really understand the way I was feeling, how I could use some of the methods that they were speaking to me about to make me feel a bit better, understand the way I was feeling. It was just like this incredible growth journey that I thought, do you know what, I can do it.
Yeah.
I can show up in the morning. I can still be positive, even though what's going on with me, all this noise around me, is not going to keep me down. I'm no longer like that slug's belly. I'm up, and I've got a purpose, which is to prove these people wrong.
Yeah.
That what we did was act of bravery, was courage, determination, against all odds as well. I'm definitely going to now show the same courage now I did on the battlefield. And that was where I just grabbed hold of this mantra, and it was keep attacking. I had to get up, draw the curtains back, and attack the day. And just keep moving forward, keep attacking, attack each day. I took each day as it came. And then 2014, that was when the summary hearing, and it was wholly without foundation, deliberate lies, reckless speculation, and ingrained hostility. But that was like 2014, so it was like some crazy journey, 10 years of hard graft.
The mental health, that must have fucking...
Yeah, it was really difficult, but I did it in the end, front it up.
Yeah.
And a part of that keep attacking journey was to go and speak to someone that can help me, because my head is all over the place.
It's building a momentum as well, I think, is, people don't realise that when you can put something to the back of your head, but all it takes is one trigger.
Of course it is.
And then it's years and years and years just unfolded like that. Then the demons come back.
Yeah.
Then
and who wants to live like that as well? It's like when I get a lot of messages, because I've been quite open about my sort of struggles and how I kind of overcame them, and I still manage a lot now, but I know how to deal with it now because I've been to see someone. I totally not 100% understand it, but I've got a really good toolkit that I can dip in and dip out of, and that's and also it's just not being scared to try new things, like listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
There's definitely podcasts out there for mental well-being, for fitness, for business, for everything. You name it, there'll be something on the online that will give you information. So I started to think, well, I need to do a bit of research, and cold water therapy, what's all that about? I'll try it, get under the shower and because people were promoting it, that it was gonna it had an effect. So I thought, well, I want to try that. Listening to different podcasts, because different experiences. I'm not unique at all. There is so many people that go through tough times.
Yeah.
So I want to listen to how they dealt with tough times. I want to see how they got out the other end of it. I listened to a podcast not so long ago, and it was to do with like knife crime and being in this violent gang in London and being in the thick of it, being like a second in command, to then not choosing that life.
Yeah.
And you go in a different way, and the fallout that had, because he made that big decision. And the reason why he didn't do it earlier, because he was scared that he was going to get killed for betraying the gang. So it's like this crazy, and I'm thinking that is so inspirational. It goes into the reasons why, how he managed to get out of it in the end, and it inspired me. People are out there, so many good people are out there doing their thing, and because it's life.
Yeah,
life is hard work.
I don't think people realise it. Like, the tools that we can get to get through the shit times we go through is from other people. I get to sit down. I've interviewed some amazing people, and I just learn.
Yeah,
they've gone through some unbelievably tough times, and I just sit there and I just think I can put that in my toolkit.
Definitely.
But reaching out and just hearing other people, even if you've met someone for an hour and listened to their story, like, right, I can put that, I can use that.
Yeah, but there's thousands and thousands of people out there who are still silent.
Yeah, and
aren't strong enough to kind of speak about their journeys. And that's what we need to achieve. That's why I come on these podcasts and have interviews, because if I can maybe influence one person who is struggling to go and create a bit of dialogue. That's the biggest thing, is to create a bit of text and then start on your journey. Then I've achieved my aim all day long. So I'll give people my time, for sure. We're all busy, but you're not too busy to give a bit of time.
It's saving someone could be watching this and it'll bang, their life saved. And it's a snowball effect, because then they can go downstairs, have a conversation with their family. Then their family
Absolutely.
goes into the office next day and my son learnt this.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, it's a massive snowball effect.
100%. And you never know who's watching. You never know who's listening. And that's what it's all about. It's the power of a conversation can, save life. And that's what it's all about, is then just to me to keep having conversations, with my dad, Lucy. I've been quite open with the boys because, I've written a book. It went on as Sunday Times bestseller, which was just blew my mind really, because I'm just an ordinary bloke.
I wanted to mention all of the achievements you've had in the intro, but I thought I'll keep people.
No, honestly, it's been crazy, and I'm very fortunate for sure. But to have my book, go to where it went to, and the one person that I couldn't shift from the top, she's a powerhouse in her own right, and that was Michelle Obama. So. Yeah, she could have at least delayed her release of her book for a month and I might have got number one. But yeah, I can forgive her for that. And then shortly after that, my life rights were optioned for film.
Yeah.
And it was actually, my life story was on the BBC Two, Danny Boy.
I gave that shortly after you agreed to the podcast. I literally, as soon as you agreed to the podcast, I watched it straight away. Fucking hell.
Savage.
What a fucking journey.
Now I'm really proud, to then go and be involved in all the planning for it.
Yeah. I see you out on the field with your bit of paper directing it.
That's it. I was on set. I was really working close with Sam Miller, who the director is, and with Anthony Boyle, who played me, who's an incredible talent. I mean, he's just finished filming with Spielberg and Tom Hanks for their second take on sort of Band of Brothers, but it's from the air. But the kid is very, very gifted, and it was it was very surreal because, like I said, I'm just Woody, and when I'm doing this, I'm like, what is going to a different world? But it was really important that they got it right through authenticity, because I wasn't just representing myself; I was representing everyone else.
Yeah. To
the attire that was worn, just all the little detail. I was so fixated in getting it right, and I worked them hard. I really worked them hard because some of the skills and drills weren't quite up to scratch, and I said, no, they're not good enough. Let's go again. We go again, because it needs to be right. And it's repetition, and they did very, very, very well. So it's been a mad journey, and then I know we'll touch on it. But I had this mantra: keep attacking.
Yeah.
That was playing around in my mind, and we were just about to go into full lockdown at this point as well, 2 years ago, and I knew that I wasn't the only person in the world who have gone through some real tough times, because life is full of tough times, and I thought, do you know what? It's probably now that people need a mantra that they can grab hold of. They need a bit of belief, encouragement, have a bit of desire to get through what we're just about to go into, which was that full lockdown. And I wanted to launch a lounge and a sports apparel. Always kept myself fit, always been intrigued by it. So I got some products in, trained in them. I knew I had this mantra which was really relatable, but I needed the product which was good enough for people to wear if they're spending their money. Yeah. But I also wanted it to be affordable for the normal everyday people. So I didn't want it pure high end. I just wanted it a good enough product that anyone who wants to represent Keep Attacking can afford and get hold of. So I trained for a long time, got only a small range together, and didn't have any money. So I thought, how am I going to launch a business with no money? So what I did was I then took some photos of the kit that I had, and then I did a 2-week pre-order. I put it on, and no word of a lie, I put the pre-order live, and within 5 hours, I'd never seen anything like it. It went naught to the clouds, and I was like, I'm under serious pressure here. I was like, because it was me picking, packing, shipping. Lucy was working for a company, and I thought it was going to be a side hustle. I thought, do you know what? someone who puts this t-shirt on or puts this hoodie on or puts this tracksuit on may give them a little 2%. I can do it. I can get over what I'm on, or get over the stresses. I can get out of this pandemic. I can keep the business afloat. You know, I can get out of this chemotherapy that I'm going through. Because honestly, right, within launching it, within a matter of days, I was having the most incredible messages. One was, I'm going through cancer treatment at the moment. I've got a board in my kitchen and it's called Project Keep Attacking. It's mapped out, honestly, from Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
And what he needed to achieve. So it'll be his meds, and then his rehab, then it was his appointments, and then it was the chemo, and then it was like bang, bang, bang. And he said, thank you so much for giving me this extra drive and motivation. I was like, what an effect. And then someone was doing a stem cell treatment that sent me a picture on the bed with the wires and that in, whatever, with his Keep Attacking t-shirt on.
No way.
Honestly, and then it just kind of grew and grew. And then there was a young kid who was a BMXer on the start line of this UK Championships with his Keep Attacking top on and on his helmet, Keep Attacking.
And it's just,
because that's what it's there for everyone to use. It's there to push people to be the best that they can be, but it's also to get people out of some fucking hard, dark times.
you do hear it when you're struggling. It's just like, just keep going, going. But keep attacking is like, I mean, we touched on it when I was struggling, and that was the mindset, you know, that you do need to do. You do need to just, like you said, just get up.
Yeah.
Get up, even if you get up just to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Just keep fucking going.
Yeah.
And overnight it's...
Yeah. I was running around, I'll tell you now, I was in my kitchen, so we had our spare room racked out with the clothing. Our kitchen was the distribution, and I was running around with my hair on fire.
No experience.
Oh, no experience at all in business. Like,
yeah.
I don't even class myself as an entrepreneur. It's hard enough to say that word. I can't even spell it. I can't even spell it. And I've just come from an organisation that is completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not had to. I've done what I was told for so many years. I was given direction, but then all of a sudden, I'm now the owner and founder of KA.
Yeah.
And I was duplicating shipments. I was getting stuff wrong. My packaging was wrong. You know, the products were good. So I had that kind of as when all the mistakes that I was making, the product was good and people were enjoying it and it was supporting and it was like people were repping. So it just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And I was like, I'm too big now for the house. I need to get out. So we got this place, which is like it's not huge, but it's 1,000 square foot. It's got our offices in.
Nice.
I now employ 3 people. Me, my wife, and my brother-in-law, Wayne.
I bet the missus is well happy it's out that spare room.
Oh, honestly, we had a few arguments, but it's just like, I was trying to enjoy the process as well, but it's hard because I take accountability. If someone has a negative thing to say about the business, I've got to take that as accountability for it. So I've got to action that. And I'm all up for constructive feedback. If it's shit, tell me what is shit and why and what I can do better. Because I'm learning, I'm evolving.
1,000,000%.
But I tell you what, I've got an unstoppableness attitude to get it done, and I want to take this to the clouds. I really do. And we've done so well within the apparel. I've now gone into teamwear, so I'm sending football kits out to football clubs. I'm doing our local club, Alton. Headley had just come on board. And the kids teams that I've been doing as well, they've been repping the mantra. It's just kind of growing that side of the business. And then we're just about to launch into the event space running. So our first event will be a 4.5 or a 9-mile trail run, environmental friendly. We're using the military land. It's pretty savage terrain, if I'm honest. It's going to be a lot of mud, water, and with a military twist. So there'll be something along the way that that'll be interesting. But we're from a great military background with a lot of experience, so why not bring some of that into the events that we're doing? Look, we're promoting getting in the fresh air. Keep Attacking have built a really cool community of like-minded people who have overcome so many obstacles within their life and also are not scared to step out of their comfort zone to get on that start line. That's a thing of beauty. That's what motivates me, to see people on the start line, all different shapes and sizes. It's irrelevant. KA is for everyone.
Not-
It's just for the from, I don't know, people who think they can't actually can.
Yeah.
Because there's no pressure. There's no time pressure.
There's no.
If you want to go and be the quickest, then go and test yourself.
Yeah,
If you want to just get on the start line, get on the start line. It will be fun. Everyone will be buzzing. And I can't wait to grow this. I mean, this is really what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
The clothing has been great. I've been passionate about it. I still am. This is another level.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm really passionate about. Seeing the community who have been online, who have been messaging us, been buying our products. I want to see them. I want to meet them in real life.
Yeah, 100%.
So I want to see them on the start line with their team, with their husband, wife, partners, whatever. I want to see them. You know, when I'm doing the warm up before the race, you know, horn goes, I've got that engagement, you know, with the people that have been supporting me along my business journey, and I can't wait. And I tell you now, we will be a company to really be recognised within the event space in the next 2 years. I promise you that now.
Got no doubt at the mindset and the journey. Then the vision. The main thing is the vision. It's not like, because this will lead on to obviously things in business, other things lead off to it. But there's no doubt that you'll be number one in what you're doing. But that's purely down to the mindset and the literally the grit to be able to make it happen. And you're buying into there's not a lot of people that start a business and want to meet the customers.
No.
And you're building that family unit. And as we said before the podcast, a trustworthy brand that people know their money is going into something that they're going to get 100% value for. It's not just another invoice or another paycheck. It's something that they're going to fall in love with.
Yeah. Well, I said to you before, I've never been motivated by money. I've never had it, really. I mean, in the military, you don't get paid.
It means fuck all.
So what I want to do is I want to create an incredible community of like-minded people to try and gain at least 2% more within their life. That's
Amazing.
what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what gives me that's my money.
Yeah.
The satisfaction. That's
Yeah.
what it's all about. And I just can't wait to get going. If I could run it, I'd run it. But I need to be there kind of helping Wayne, like my brother-in-law. He's in Dubai at the moment, but I need to help him sort of manage the whole day because we're like well over 100 runners already. We've still got just 6.5 weeks to go to the first event. It's, you know, the hard work to get keep attacking approved on the MOD land, the military land, was a process and a half. But Wayne, you know, worked hard and got all the approval, got all the licensing, and got all the, you know, all the bits of paperwork for health and safety done. And you want to see the courses. Honestly, the courses are flat out incredible for everyone.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. Buzzing.
Talk just the people watching this that are into them sort of things. Do you want to talk us through what the courses will entice? Don't give away all the secrets.
Yeah, there is a couple of, they're not funnies, but they are, or maybe they are funnies. Who knows? It depends on, there's going to be a couple of things. The kind of, the demanding areas of the course are going to be called keep attacking zones.
Yeah.
So, and you'll see it. And you'll definitely see it, and then you'll experience it, and it's nothing to be afraid of because it's nothing that's going to hurt you or anything like that. It's just a little bit different to what you're normally going to do on a running event like it, because a lot of people go through mud and water.
Yeah.
But we need to be a little bit different, and we need to use our military experience and bring it onto the military land to create an imprint. And also, we want to make sure that people who do this one want to sign up for the next one.
Yeah.
Because that's a community of cool people who are going to go to from Slab Common, which we're going on to then Martinique, to then Aldershot, to then Longmore. Because that's the areas that we've got. So I want to make sure that people feel so welcome. They've achieved, they've been worked hard, but they've come back and have spoken about it for an hour after the event because it's left an impression like that.
I've got goosebumps. You don't really realise the impact, and it's just clicked there. Like, there will be people that go to the events that you're doing that I feel in life meeting like-minded people is very hard sometimes when you're in your own city. You've grown up with the people for so long, you know, it's very hard. I mean, with social media now, it's good to branch out and actually build a strong connection, but you are going to bring people that have suffered mental health.
Yeah.
There's been people that have been through, you know, diseases, and they've managed to get out the other end. This will be something that not only builds a family, but this will change people's lives but organically.
Oh, that's what I would love. That would give me so much pride. That would make all of the hard work worth it. I mean, the cameras can't see like all of the stuff that's stacked up in the back for the event. I mean, we've
Boxes everywhere.
Yeah, we've really want to make it that you turn up and you see straight away that it's a proper event. There's no corners that are cut. I mean, we are both rigid from our backgrounds, and it needs to be looking the best.
Yeah.
It needs to have an incredible feel of togetherness, friendliness, and get out and just help each other out and achieve. There'll be areas on the course that you're gonna have to do spontaneous teamwork. That's what we want to promote as well. We want to do, mate, if you're in, and there's going to be areas that you're in and you're looking around saying, I need a little bit of help here because I can't get out of this
you got to ask
situation.
A stranger,
So you got to ask a stranger. But that's what we're promoting.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what it's all about. It's supporting, it's pushing people up, or it's pulling people up. But in life, you need a helping hand.
100%.
So you're going from a mental side of it where sometimes you need a bit of help and you need to be pulled up or pushed or give a bit of encouragement.
Amazing.
You're going to be doing that physically.
Yeah.
And that's what we've created.
Yeah.
It's something that you're going to have to be forced to give someone a bunk up or give someone a helping hand.
That should be the normal though, just reaching out, just going, listen, I need help. And we should have so much love and so much happiness in the world that it should just be the normal, and you should feel safe doing it to, you could grab someone on the bus and go, listen, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
And this is what
it's just trying to make it a normal conversation.
Yeah.
But there's still so much work to be done because, especially within males, I mean,
why do you think it is?
Male suicide is it's a flipping through the roof. I just think we have such a powerful facade that we struggle to feel that it's okay to not be okay. I haven't got the answers to it because we're still in this situation at the moment with suicide, and I wish I did have the answers. Unfortunately, I don't. All I can do is promote that it is good to talk. It can change your life. It can save your life.
Yeah.
But you have got to be accountable for it. You can have all the best hubs, best support mechanisms around the UK, but if you're not willing to go and use it, they're going to be empty.
100%. I do feel vulnerability is the most powerful tool. I mean, when I struggled, I was just like, I was crying because I didn't want to live anymore. But I just got to the point where I was so fed up of being sad that I realised I was like, shit, I need help. So, I mean, I don't just need to get up and just go about my days. Like, I need professional help, or it is going to go one way. And it is an ego thing.
Yeah.
I think showing, that especially in the days of we were talking about how bullshit social media is. To put out there, you're struggling, you do have to have this massive ego. What you're doing and sort of what I'm trying to create in is going to change that, and I do hope in time that it does just become the normal.
Yeah, I think so. And it's down to us to keep being vocal and keep pushing your content out there, because it's definitely supporting. That's a credit to you, and a credit for you travelling that all this way to come down and have a chat with me. And and it's just trying to find good in a bad situation. That's and it's like I said, I'm not the oracle, I'm not a guru by any stretch. I've just, like so many, got a bit of an experience, and I don't mind sharing it, because if it's something that's going to support someone else, then absolutely. But I think we should finish up maybe on talking about the Ultimate Sacrifice Challenge that I did that November just gone.
100%. I was going to ask. I was going to ask two things: what it was like getting the military cross from the Queen, and another question. But then I saw the passion when you started talking about how to keep attacking. I was like, I'm just going to let that organically go. So I just want to know, meeting the Queen and get the military cross, and then go into that absolutely ridiculous challenge that you've done, that I'm tired even just about to hear about.
I mean, meeting the military cross was, other than my kids being born, the best experience that I've ever had. To take my mum and dad to the palace, and Lucy, my wife, after everything that we'd gone through. I was very naive. I didn't even know awards were given, were given out. I was like such a young lad at this time, and it was really sort of it was fresh days of war fighting. So I didn't even know what was going on. And when my name was read out, I thought, what does even that mean? I was really shocked, and that's
Yeah.
like genuine. And then obviously I spoke to my dad, and they couldn't believe it, and it was just an incredible experience. And then going down and having my name read out, going in front of her, and there's a video actually on my Instagram.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've watched that about 20 times.
Honestly, it's crazy. I am very, very proud of that. But Winston Churchill did once say that a medal shines, but it also casts a shadow.
Yeah.
And that was kind of when the allegations came in. There was a big shadow cast, but I'm still really proud of what we achieved, and that medal represents not just me, but it represents everyone who was there that day. And very proud day.
Yeah, amazing. And I think, going through what you went through, I mean, when I went through my shit times, my mum got dragged through it with me. Our loved ones definitely do, and we don't realise it. So your missus watching that must have been absolutely...
Yeah, no, incredible. For sure. I mean, it was kind of later. I never spoke about anything when I got back. It was just like quite closed. And then in 2009, once the inquiry kicked off, that was when my family were dragged into it, because there was reporters, cameramen on my brother's doorstep. There was people trying to speak to my mum and dad. There was people trying to speak to me and get hold of me, and like schoolyard gossip. All of a sudden, my son who's in school, his dad, as in me, is now a murderer. So he's now getting it in the schoolyard, and I'm like, he's back at home trying to understand what's going on. And it was just a crazy time of my life, but I still had to find a way to try and deal with it, find a way to reassure my kids or Bailey that everything was going to be okay. Try to keep our marriage intact, because there was a lot of pressure not only on me but on Lucy as well. And it's a credit to her that woman deserves the medal, if I'm honest. Like, being there, loyal, fiercely loyal, for all these years. And it's actually our 20th anniversary next month.
Congratulations.
Wedding anniversary. So all got less for a bloody murder. But, she's an incredible woman.
Yeah, well done, Lucy. I'll give you a clap for that.
No, definitely. She deserves a clap, let me tell you, putting up with me.
You the shout out.
But, it's all, so yeah, I mean... But I'm also definitely one for giving back. Yeah. Those who know me will know I do a lot for charity. Yeah. I've always put myself on the line for it. I believe if there is energy you have, you should at least have a percentage of that energy 100%. Delivered into the right way. It's selfless commitment. It's giving back feels incredible. Yeah. And I will continue to do that forevermore. I did it when I started the business, with charity. I'm now a patron for Walking with the Wounded and do a lot with them, and recently took on that mammoth challenge, which was some journey, but worth it in the end.
100%. I'll do a mental health charity night every year. The last one we raised 12 grand for Mind's mental health.
That's
so
amazing.
I'm going to put this forward now. I'd love you there.
Yeah, mate. Listen, if I'm available, I'll be down for sure.
100%.
Definitely.
Go into the detail about the challenge just quickly. Yeah. Talk us through that.
So during the Iraq and Afghanistan campaign, there was 635 lives that were lost. Yeah. And I wanted to, last November, clearly November is such a poignant month because of remembrance, and I wanted to represent each and every one of them lives. Yeah. So I pledged a mile for each life that was lost, which was 635. But I also then pledged that I would run no less than 26.2 miles, which is a marathon a day, for 25 consistent days. And each day I had 26 names that I was running for that day. And each mile we would read the name of the fallen. Amazing. Per each mile. And you can't train for an event like it. No. A lot of it's sort of stubbornness, mental upstairs to keep going and keep attacking. Like that mantra, I use that.
Love it.
Relentlessly.
David Goggins would love that.
Honestly, it was flat out, and I was, the first 6 marathons, my body was breaking.
Yeah.
My Achilles were 3 times the size they should be. I had a stress fracture on my left ankle, but I had names that I needed to remember.
Yeah.
And then it got bigger and bigger, and then I went on Good Morning Britain, and then it exploded.
Amazing.
And then families then started to be aware of this, and they'd lost, loved ones who then were sending me messages. So then that became a motivation for me. It was so hard to read some of the messages as well. It was just heartbreaking, but it gave me that energy and that belief I needed to get back on the start line and go again for another 26 miles and go again for another 26 miles. And I think kind of Marathon 9 was the day after my birthday, and it was savage. It was the hardest day. I was crawling at points really, really hard, and to the point that the lad who was with me phoned my wife up and said, Lucy, you got to come and see him. She was like, what, already? It's like I was only on like mile 9.
Yeah.
And she seen me, and I just got probably a little bit emotional. I was in a bad way. I was having a really bad run. My knee was keeping me awake at night, and I was banging some real strong painkillers, but they weren't even touching the sides of on the knee. And then she said something to me. I just had to go and walk away, put my head in my hands, and I just like cleansed myself, just put my head in, had a few tears, wiped my eyes, chewed on a sandwich, and then I was gone again. But I felt all right after that.
That's it.
And then it kicked me started again. And then Marathon 19, I got under 4 hours. So I just blasted it. Yeah. I started to get fitter. My body then started to flip reverse, and my body then started to acknowledge that it was in it for the long haul.
Yeah, I mean the body gives up before the mind.
Yeah, and that's it, bosh. But I did it.
That's crazy.
My last run was here. My son came down from training. They released him for the day. He come and run the final marathon with me.
I saw that.
My dad was
clip
down.
of it, yeah.
Unfortunately, my mum couldn't get down for it, but Lucy was there. The whole village seemed to take a day off. The fire service was up there, so as I've crossed the line, everyone was there, and then the emotion was all to be seen. But the most important thing is I managed to raise £170,000, which is
that's
amazing.
Absolutely incredible.
So,
the difference that money would have made.
Incredible, and a lot of it is focused on the mental health care and attention that servicemen and women absolutely need, and all former servicemen and women who are absolutely crying out for it at the moment. So it was a mammoth challenge. I've now created the ultimate sacrifice that I will do now each year, and let's see what the next challenge is going to be. But I'm not going to commit to anything on visuals or audio. Yeah, definitely. I've got a few things in mind, but I'm not committing yet. So we'll find out. But it was
amazing.
a journey.
Amazing. So I ask my guests at the end of every podcast, melior means for the pursuit of the better in Latin. How do you plan on pursuing the better in life moving forward?
Surrounding myself with really good people who bring energy, joy, passion, values to the business, to love my family more, to mentor my family in ways where I think I can bring value, and be kind.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Brian?
No worries, man. Pleasure. Thank you.
So please plug your business. Anything that you've got going on at the moment, we'll put everything in the description as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I think I'm not one for plugging. I mean,
giving you the chance.
People know, I mean, if you don't know, that my business is Keep Attacking. It's online. We're on Instagram. I have obviously my personal accounts, which is at Brian Wood MC. And check it out. If you haven't watched Danny Boy, it's still on BBC iPlayer, so go and check that out. And the book Double Crossed as well. Yeah, my books. You can get signed copies through actually Keep Attacking. They're in a box down there, so if someone wanted a signed copy, then you can get them on there. But other than that, it's a thing of beauty. Been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having us down, man. Thank you for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and please put this into the path that you think of someone may benefit with it. Merely a fucking movement, baby.
baby.
Melia movement, baby.